Yeah. Hello, Penelope Smith. Penelope Jane Smith, thank you so much for joining us today on your Small Business Podcast. How are you doing?
I'm awesome. Very excited to be here and geek out about money stuff with you.
Oh,
Thank you for having
yes, money. Money is a great topic. It is a great topic. So let's start off first with you just introducing yourself and letting us know your journey. What has got you to where you are right now at this moment today?
Well, I have been doing this for over 20 years. My specialty is supporting women entrepreneurs to become financially free. And my goal is to help them become financially free in 5 years or less with $10,000 or more in passive income so that they don't have to depend on a job, the government, a spouse, an adult child, or anybody else for money. And that is what I've been up to. And that's what I'm super passionate about.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That is a heavy suitcase you got going on. But you actually have a pretty dramatic story about money. Would you be willing to share a little bit about that dramatic story about money you have?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's a painful story, but it's also one that I think is very educational and valuable. So I will be happy to bare my soul for the sake of everyone's learning and growth. So I know Janice, you and I haven't known each other that long, so you might not know this about me, but in my mid 20s, I took $10,000 of my own money, and then in 4 years, I turned it into over $6 million in real estate. So I was on track to retire to be financially free by the time I was 31. And then, as you probably know, the market crashed
Hmm.
and everything just changed overnight for me. My credit was ruined. I lost my beautiful home to foreclosure and I just like struggled and struggled to make ends meet. And in the end, I was actually forced to declare bankruptcy. So I went from millions to bankrupt. And then, right around that time, I was invited to participate in this high level mastermind group on Necker Island, which is Richard Branson's private island in the Caribbean. And this is so crazy, Janice, because this was a $50,000 investment for a 6 day mastermind, no refunds, no payment plans. And at the time, like my electricity had gotten turned off and I couldn't afford to get it turned back on. That's how bad this was.
Oh,
So
wow.
I had like no money, no credit because my credit was like totally crashed. So I couldn't just put it on a credit card or anything. But I had this strong intuitive hit that I was supposed to be there. And amazingly, I actually did it. I don't know if we have time, but if you want me to share how I did it, I can. But the
Oh,
point
yes,
was,
definitely.
okay,
Please share. Yes.
cool. So like, but the main thing is that that was the beginning of turning everything around. The facilitator actually announced publicly to the whole group that he wanted to win a Nobel Prize for single-handedly turning the economy around. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
You know, and that really inspired me. I started asking myself, well, what could I do to turn the economy around? And what was so cool is that I actually got an answer. Can I share what I came up with?
Mhm, sure. Yes, please.
Awesome. Thank you. So here's what I noticed. Each person has their own personal economy. You have your economy, I have my economy, and that may or may not have anything to do with the economy at large. So when I was on Necker Island, I was in the middle of losing everything.
Mhm.
But there were other people there who were having their best year in business ever. And I was like, how does that work? So I figured if I could support enough individual entrepreneurs in creating their own personal economy to be really abundant, then eventually we'd hit a tipping point and that would shift the economy at large.
Yeah.
So I decided to focus my energy on supporting other entrepreneurs to make more money because that's something I'm really great at. And as a byproduct, my own business tripled. So at this point, business is awesome. Like I'm able to make a healthy 6 figures, closing in on 7 figures, doing what I really love while only working like 25 to 30 hours a week. So I have plenty
Mhm.
of time to be with my first kiddo, who's 4 years old now. And I'm pregnant with kiddo number two right now.
All right.
And I was able to cash flow my dream wedding, have an extra long maternity leave, do
Mhm.
all sorts of vacations pre-COVID, have an awesome car that I own free and clear, built my retirement accounts back up, and last year, which actually I guess maybe 5 or 6 months ago now, I moved into my gorgeous dream home with panoramic
Oh,
water. Like I can actually look out above my webcam and there is the water right there. It is so beautiful. And that's why I'm so passionate about sharing this stuff with other women, entrepreneurs especially, because I have lived through some people's worst nightmares
mm,
financially and lived to tell the tale.
mhm.
So hopefully I can help other women avoid some of the horrible, painful mistakes I've made. And then also, if you're listening to this and you've faced financial challenges in your own life, then hopefully I can show you how you can recover, rebuild, rise like a phoenix from the
Yes,
ashes, right?
yes.
Yeah.
That is so amazing. Cause it's so unfortunate because I think sometimes it comes a time in everyone's life where you do hit rock bottom, and you have to make that choice. Either I stay here or I get up. And I want to say, for you to follow your instinct and follow your gut with that mastermind, because anybody else would have said, no, that's $50,000. I don't have it. I'm going to just have to, go work at McDonald's. Not saying working at McDonald's is a bad thing, but you really took that faith, that leap of faith, and followed your gut and made your dreams come true.
Yeah,
That is
if there was ever a time to say I can't afford it, that was the time, right?
yeah, that was it.
And I honestly don't know where I'd be right now if I had said that. So instead of like shifting it to how can I afford it, right? It's a
Yeah,
big mindset shift that really changed the course of my life.
that had to be the most amazing, $50,000 my mastermind in the world. For one, for it to be so expensive, and then two, for it to just totally change your life. It had to be amazing.
I think it was, like so many programs, you get out what you put in. When I go to an event, I can get more out of a 10-minute break than some people can get out of the event because that's the mindset I'm going in with. So yeah, it was like an insane experience to just be able to like soak in the energy of being on a billionaire's private island,
Wow.
and being at the top of the crow's nest looking out over the Caribbean, or being in the workout room looking out over the water and being on the elliptical runner and I'm listening to Justin Timberlake going, I'm bringing sexy back. What?
I love
And
that
then
song.
I hear that song and I'm right back there on Necker Island. It's so cool. Um,
Wow, wow.
we had like sushi in the pool on big kayaks. I mean, it was definitely like definitely really cool. But the biggest thing that I got out of it wasn't anything that was taught there, but the download that I had around how can I help people shift their own economy. And I think that one thing that I did that really helped was instead of being like, oh my God, I paid $50,000 to be here. I have to get the value. I have to get the thing. I was like, okay, I'm here. Let me take it all in.
Mhm. Yeah.
Let me receive whatever I'm here to receive. So it was like instead of this like tight energy, it was more of like a receptive energy, and I think that that's what allowed me to get the downloads and then bring that experience back to California. That was where I live, which was kind of the idea. Like I met all these cool people who were rocking their personal economy. I'm like, let me take this experience back home with me so people can
Mhm.
get this learning without having to invest $50,000.
Right. That's so brave too.
Yeah.
In financial freedom, it means different for everybody.
Yeah.
So when you talk about financial freedom, what do you mean specifically about that? Financial freedom.
Ooh, that's a really great question, Janice, because the number one reason people don't get what they want is they don't know what they want, right? It's like Zig Ziglar said, if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time.
Mhm.
So the truth is that there's a spectrum of financial experience everywhere from being in financial crisis, like I was, unable to pay my bills at one end, all the way to building wealth and doing estate planning and preserving your wealth at the other end of the spectrum, right? So there are 8 milestones along this journey that I call the path to prosperity. And each one actually brings more freedom with it. So, for example, let's say you become cash flow positive, which means you go from not making enough to make ends meet, and now you're making more than enough money to pay your bills. That creates a feeling of freedom, right? You're like, ooh, I can support myself. When
Definitely.
you don't have any consumer debt, that creates freedom. When you have a nice big cash cushion to cover any of life's unexpected events, that creates freedom.
Mhm.
You know, when you own your own home free and clear, if that's something you want to do, that creates freedom. So when I talk about financial freedom and working with women to become financially free in 5 years or less, I'm talking about the eighth and final milestone on this financial freedom journey, which is where your money is working so hard for you that you don't have to work anymore if you don't want to, because your
Mhm.
investments are generating enough income to cover all of your expenses. So that's what I mean by financial freedom. And of course, you get to experience more freedom at every point along the journey too, right?
Right. Sounds like an awesome journey to go on that I would love. Well, I would love to go on that journey. I think I'm gonna have to take that journey with you. Because
We're on it right now, baby. This is
yeah,
the journey.
because when you think about it, that's what we're all trying to do. There's so many people out there right now that's got their side hustles, their part times and their full times, and then they're every when you think about it, I swear I think at this point right now, there are so many people that have their own business, especially women. And
Yeah.
we're all trying to get to that eighth step that you're talking about. That is where we're trying to go.
And I think that's something that inspires a lot of women to go into business for themselves. Like freedom is one of my highest values. And I think that's true for a lot of entrepreneurs. Like, let me live life on my own terms. Let me create my own thing, you
Hmm.
know, let me make my own schedule. Let me
Yes.
choose who I work with. Freedom, freedom, freedom. It makes me think of like Braveheart going, freedom, like I feel so passionate about it. It's like, yes, that's what I want for everybody.
Yes, definitely. And while we're talking about freedom, you have came up with the financial freedom formula. And that's the
Yes,
8 steps, right? What is that? We need to dive
yes.
into that.
So the financial freedom formula describes milestone number 8. The financial freedom formula is PI is greater than E. PI is greater than E. So in that formula, E stands for expenses. So I'm pretty sure we're all familiar with those. This is how much it costs to live your life, support your lifestyle, everything from your rent or mortgage to your yoga classes, right? That's expenses. And then PI stands for passive income. So passive income is different than just getting a client in your business. Passive income comes in whether you're working, sleeping, or playing. So when your passive income is greater than your expenses, you're financially free. The
Mhm.
American Internal Revenue Service defines it as income from trade or business activities in which you do not materially participate. But the idea is that once your passive income is more than your expenses, then you're at complete choice about what you do with your time, because your assets, your investments will continue to pay all your bills and they'll continue
Mhm.
to pay for your lifestyle whether you work or not. And this is a really important distinction, because a lot of people think, oh, well, I need $5 million to be financially free, or some idea like that. And the
Mhm.
truth is that to be financially free, you don't need to be out of debt. You don't need to pay off your house. I mean, you can, that's fun.
Mhm.
You don't need to make a ton of money. You don't need to be a millionaire. You just have to have more passive income than expenses. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that does. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because as you're talking, I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, do I feel like I'm financially free? But we just bought a house, but my income, I mean, I'm pretty free.
I mean, you have some freedom just with the income from your business, right? But like,
Yeah, yeah.
let's say you have a mortgage on the house, right?
Mhm.
Um, you don't have to pay the mortgage off to be financially free. You just need to have enough passive income to pay for the mortgage,
Right.
and you're
Exactly.
and you're good, right? And you can pay it
Yeah.
off if you want, but that's not what makes you financially free, is the point.
That's a good point too, because I do think most people do think that when you think financial freedom, they're thinking like they have no debt, they just have all this unlimited income, and they have nothing to pay, and they're just shopping willy nilly, doing everything. But you never think like financial freedom and still having a few bills.
Mhm.
That's People don't think of it that way
Yeah,
at
and let's
all.
acknowledge that when you're making a lot of money and you have no debt, that there is freedom there, but it's not the ultimate financial freedom that I'm wanting to help people create.
Hmm. Can you give us some more examples of passive income? Because, yeah, what exactly would you say is passive
Oh
income?
yeah, I love passive income. So Janice, have you ever gotten interest on a savings account?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's not a lot of passive income, but it is passive income. That's your money going and making more money for you without you doing anything. Like that's you get that interest whether you're working, sleeping, or playing, right? So I
Hmm.
bring that up because I think a lot of us have had that experience and it's easier to create more of something that we've already experienced and we know is possible, right? So it's like,
Hmm.
oh, okay, well, if I can get $5 in interest on my savings account, yeah, maybe I could get $50 in passive income or $500 or $5,000 or $50,000. Like if you have some, you might be able to get more,
Hmm.
right? Some other
Right.
examples of passive income are rental income from real estate, and there's a whole bunch of different ways to do that, right? You can rent a place out, you can buy billboards, you can buy commercial property or residential property, you could own a
Hmm.
laundromat, you can own the financing on a piece of real estate. Like there's all sorts of ways to create passive income from real estate. You could get royalties from publishing a book or licensing your intellectual property. You can get ad revenue on your blogs or your YouTube videos. You can get income from vending machines that you own or businesses that aren't dependent on you as the owner to run them. You could get dividends on stock or even just deciding on a percentage of stock that you want to sell without worrying about touching the principal. So
Hmm.
there's lots of examples. By the way, I've created an ebook on the financial
Hmm.
freedom formula. So if you're listening to this and you want to go deeper, like review this information and go deeper with it, you can get a free copy at financialfreedomgift.com. So if you go to financialfreedomgift.com, you can download the workbook that shares some of the concepts that we're talking about here.
That'd be great. And I will put it on the in the show notes too, so people can just click on it and get that ebook. I noticed too about passive income because when you say passive, a lot of people think like, oh, it's just I don't have to do anything and the money will come to me. And then I think a lot of people don't realize you do have to put a little work in on the front end because you've got to just if you decide to buy a billboard, where you got to put something on that billboard, right? You got to work at
Yeah,
figuring out what to put on that billboard, or if you want to write a book and have passive income with that, you first have to write the book. So I think some people
absolutely.
get a little confused when it comes to about passive income. They think like it's going to be something really easy, but you really have to put the work in the front end on it. But then eventually that money will start racking in for you.
Yeah, or you're putting money aside into the stock market or crypto or whatever. There's a lot of different ways to do it. But you brought something up interesting, Janice, which is that there are varying degrees of passive. And I actually posted a video on my YouTube channel, it's Penelope Jane Smith, if you want to check that out, called The Truth About Passive Income.
Hmm.
And the truth about passive income is there are varying degrees of passive. So there's like interest on your savings account. That's pretty passive. You don't really need to do anything. I mean,
Right.
you got to open the account, right? And you got to
Hmm.
put some money in there. But that is like pretty freaking passive, right? And
Right.
then on the other side, you have rental real estate where even if you're a property manager, you still have to manage the manager. Having owned 35 properties all over the US, like I've had weird stuff happen, like people stealing the copper pipes out of my buildings. I'm like, are
Oh
you
gosh.
kidding? Who does this? Like, why? Right? So
Wow.
there's still like a maintenance energy to it, but it's
Hmm.
still much easier than having to like hustle 40 hours a week. Maybe it's just like a few hours here and there, right? That you're managing your investments um, or managing your passive income streams.
Hmm. So what's the other level? So you got the kind where, okay, the bank, the savings, so you don't have to do anything. And then what you said, the real estate. So what's the next one after that? Like a category.
Well, it's more just like it's more just like a spectrum.
Hmm.
Some passive income streams are more passive than others,
Yeah.
right? So investing in an index fund in the stock market is pretty passive. Putting money on a cryptocurrency exchange that pays you interest on your crypto, that's pretty passive. Or staking your crypto, that's pretty passive.
Hmm.
Um, like you said, writing a book, you need the initial energy to like write it. And then if somebody else is going out and selling it for you, it's passive. If you have to go sell it, that's not so passive, right? So
Yeah.
just knowing that like these different things have different levels of involvement.
Okay. Okay. So when someone decides they want to create that financial freedom, what is the very first step that they should be doing to create that?
Mm, great. The first step is to create a clear financial freedom vision for yourself. And what I mean by that is this is your desired lifestyle if you didn't have to work for money. And you might still choose to work. Like a lot of the people I work with, they love what I do. They love what they do. They have a message to share with the world. It's part of their life purpose, their passion. But like if money were totally handled, what would you want to do with your life energy? And having a clear vision like this is important because it helps you, first of all, to program your mind to see opportunities and overcome obstacles like vision or reality. But it also guides the decisions you make and the actions you take along the way, which helps keep you moving forward in the direction you want to go, right? And you might want to create three different levels like basic, comfortable, and luxurious.
Mm,
And you're probably going to change them over time. So I would encourage you to like tune into your financial freedom vision and actually write it down. Like, where do you live? What kind of car do you drive? What do you do for self-care? What kind of support do you have? Does somebody else clean your house? Do you have a personal chef? What do you do for fun in your spare time? What do you do for travel? What role does philanthropy play in your life? Like tune into all these things. And then the next step that's really hot, if you're willing to do it, is put numbers to it. So if you want to own your dream home, do some research to find out how much a home in that area would cost and what your mortgage payment would be, right? If you want
mhm.
a 90-minute massage every week, well, how much does that cost? What does your favorite massage therapist charge? If you really want to own your own private island, you can do some research and find out like how much does your ideal private island cost to buy and
Yeah.
maintain, right? And then you come up with an estimate of what it would cost to actually maintain your financial freedom lifestyle in reality. And you may even want to track your actual expenses and see what you're spending now because that helps you come up with an actual number and a more accurate number. And then you can add in a cushion to cover stuff you didn't think about, like taxes and other things that you might have forgotten, property maintenance, buying a new car, stuff like that. Um, but once you know what your expenses are to maintain your financial freedom vision, then you know how much passive income you need to be financially free at that level of lifestyle. So let's say, Janice, that it costs you $10,000 a month to maintain your desired lifestyle. Well, then
Mhm.
you need at least $10,000 a month in passive income to cover that, right?
Right.
And if that's too much detail, you're like, I don't have my whole vision written out. I don't know exactly what it'll cost. Then you can start by just coming up with a rough intuitive estimate of how much you would need. So, like, if you're like, well, I don't know, then imagine me asking you this. If I gave you $5,000 a month, if I just gave you $5,000 a month, would that be enough for you to live on? And if you're like, yeah, then you can use that as your first goal. If you're
Mhm.
like, 5,000, be tight. Well, then what about 6,000? 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000. Like keep going like that until you hit a number where you're like, oh yeah, yeah, I could live on that. And then you can just
Mm.
use that number for now. So then now you know how much passive income you need, and now you can create a plan to get there. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. It's kind of like working backwards. I've noticed
Yeah.
since I've been in this business too, working backwards helps because you get that you get that end goal. You focus on that. Where is it that I'm trying to get to? Where's my destination? And then you figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
That's
I
really
always
what
think
it
it
is.
helps to begin with the end in mind, right?
Yes, definitely. And I never thought about doing that. I think when we get off the phone, I mean, off the phone, off the podcast, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that exercise and see because I've never done it. I don't know how much it would cost for me to be where I can be, I guess, where I want to be comfortably and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But I know it's definitely not 5,000 or six. It's probably yeah. But that is a good way, good place to start because then you know how
Yeah.
much you want to make.
Yeah, and then
Definitely.
you're like, "Okay, well, how do I get more passive income?" Right? So, there's 2 main types of passive income. The
Mhm.
first type comes from buying assets. like buying a rental property or buying stock, right?
Mhm.
It gets your money working for you. That's
Right.
why I mentioned if you ever put your money in a savings account or a money market account or certificate of deposit and you earned interest on it, like you've already had that experience. And then to get your money growing faster, you might consider investing in mutual funds, ETFs, stocks, bonds, cryptocurrency, business, vending machines, real estate. Like there's so many options, right?
Yeah.
This is the golden goose model. So if you remember the story of the goose that laid the golden eggs,
Mhm.
you want to grow a big enough golden goose that you can live off the eggs, right?
I like that. Yeah.
So how big of a golden goose do you need? Well, that obviously depends on how much passive income you need and what kind of a
Mhm.
return you can get on your investments, right? So
Right.
most like traditional big box financial advisors will tell you to start with the 4% rule, which means that you can withdraw 4% of your total investment portfolio in the first year of retirement or financial freedom. I like financial
Mhm.
freedom better.
Yeah.
Um, and then you can the dollar amount stays the same adjusted for inflation each year. And with that approach, your risk of running out of money over your retirement is very, very low. So let's say you need $10,000 a month in passive income to be financially free. You need $10,000 a month in golden eggs, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So how big of a golden goose do you need to do that? Well, anytime we're talking about a rate of return like 4%, we're talking about an annual percentage. That's for the whole year. So the first thing you want to do is take that monthly amount and times it by 12.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
10,000 times no, so okay, come here. Oh, we missed we missed our rate of return. My bundle is home from school. This is
Hello.
okay, we won't turn it off. Can you say hi, Janice?
Hi, Janice.
Hello, honey.
Sure, look at Tina, working mama. All right.
Oh, he's so cute.
Let's count.
Okay, we can count in just a minute, honey. We're doing a podcast.
No, podcast.
You don't even know what a podcast is. There
But
you go.
he's on one.
Not a podcast. Okay, we'll count. We'll
Oh,
count.
he's upset.
Yeah. Okay. What are we counting?
I think I could start over. Now we can count.
What we can count? Okay. Can you edit this?
Can you count?
I probably will edit it out of the audio, but I'm gonna keep it in the video.
Okay, 1. Oh my gosh. I'm helping Janice figure out how to become financially free, honey.
We're almost done. I just have like maybe one more question.
I'm gonna see if I can have the babysitter take a second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay, let's have Brienne here.
Let me
Would you
drink
like
some
that?
coffee.
Sweetie, mama.
If you watch the video, you get all of this. This is what working mothers do. Luckily, my children are teenagers, and I tell them before I start, "Don't you come here." I put a sign on the door, recording in progress. Don't bring your ass in here. That's what my team. Because I don't have any little ones.
Oh my gosh, my nightmare just came true.
No, that is totally fine. I kind of like it though, because then you can you know how people like to see behind the scenes. They
Oh my
like to see
gosh.
stuff like that. And while you were gone, I was just talking through it. It's totally fine. And then with the audio, I can just cut it. No
Okay,
problem. No problem.
cool. Oh my God. So we're walking through some math, which is a really funny place to get interrupted.
Yeah.
So we figured like if we're doing 10,000, you times it by 12, so you have 120,000 a year, right?
Right.
So that's the golden eggs you need. So how much money would we need invested at 120,000, or how much money would we need invested at 4% to give you 120,000 in golden eggs? So how you would do that mathematically is you would do 120,000 divided by 0.04, which I know is like kind of weird for people who aren't really good with math. So I'll show you a different way in just a
Like
sec.
me.
Yeah. But basically, if you take 120,000 divided by 0.04,
Mm-hmm.
you get $3 million.
Okay.
If it's easier, you can just take the amount times 25. So like 120,000 times 25, that also gets you to $3 million.
Mhm.
But the point is, if you have a $3 million golden goose and you're taking off 4% in golden eggs, that gives you 120,000 a year in golden eggs, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So then that 3 million, that's your magic number. That's how much you need in investments to be financially free at that particular lifestyle.
Mhm.
And if you're going to use the 4% rule, if you don't like that, you can adjust it up or down. Some people are like, oh no, let me use 3%. I want to be conservative. As you increase your financial education and get better investing, you might feel more comfortable with 5, 6, 7% or more, which of course means you don't need as big a golden goose
Right.
to give you the same amount of golden eggs, right? So
Mhm.
then you might be like, well, okay, Penelope, that's nice. What if I don't have $3 million just sitting here? Right? And some people
Right.
do. Some people do. Some people, they've inherited money or they've saved money over time or they get a divorce settlement. So some of my clients, like they have it already. And it's
Right.
just a matter of learning how to manage and invest their money wisely. And then boom, they're financially free, in a couple months. It's just a matter of like learning how to deploy it.
Mhm.
But if you don't have that $3 million already, then well, if you do have it, then it's like learning how to invest it properly, right? If
Right.
you don't have it, then you use the second type of passive income, which is to create new passive income streams from scratch. So if you're only focusing on the golden goose strategy of buying assets,
Mhm.
and you don't have $3 million, then you might think, oh, it's impossible for me to become financially free. That magic number can feel like so out of reach that you might just give up. So that's why we want to also know how to create passive income with little or no money down. And this is
Mhm.
where instead of investing money, you're investing time, energy, creativity, relationships into creating new passive income streams out of thin air, right?
Right. Mhm.
And I would say that these are usually semi-passive. Semi-passive means putting some time and energy into it, but honestly, that's the case with most things. Like we were talking about, there's a spectrum of
Mhm.
passive, right?
Right.
Um, do you want me to share some examples? How are we doing on time?
Sure. Yeah, we're good. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. So one really easy way to get started is to become an affiliate of another
Mhm.
person or company that you believe in and promote their products and services. Like if you think about your mega niche, money, health, relationships, beauty, you can think about other products or programs or services that complement what you do. That might be a good affiliate relationship, especially if
Mhm.
it's something you use yourself and you really love. If you're already in business for yourself, another like really easy semi-passive income stream is to add some kind of ongoing membership program. And this is a great way to get started to make a lot of semi-passive income with
Mhm.
no money down because you can start with free tools like free conference calling, shorter Zoom calls, creating a Facebook group, right?
Right.
Ideally, you want to create a program that your clients want to be in forever because they love having that ongoing support. Ongoing support's really important, like with
Yes.
anything you're trying to create, right? Like I'm in a
Mhm.
program for recovery from food addiction, and having that ongoing support helps keep me on track. So I just like keep re-upping year after year after year,
Yeah.
right? And by my calculations, the facilitator of that program is making at least $70,000 a month in semi-passive income. And she's
Woo!
leading like one group coaching call a month.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's pretty awesome, right? Um,
Yeah.
Another idea is to start your own YouTube channel. This is something
Mhm.
I just added to my repertoire last year, and I'm super excited about it. That's Penelope Jane Smith on YouTube if you want to check it out. But, once your channel gets monetized, YouTube will split the ad revenue with you. And that's just one way to monetize it. Um, it's a lot of work to launch the channel. Like it takes me and my team about 12 hours for every 10-minute video that I put up. That's not
Mhm.
passive, right? But
Right.
every single video I create is like a little asset that can continue to make me more and more passive income over time. So just like starting your investment account with a few dollars, it might not seem exciting at first, but there's a compounding effect to having a YouTube channel similar to earning compound interest on your money in an investment account. One of
Mhm.
my colleagues just started his channel about 4 years ago, and he is now making over $1 million a year just in ad revenue.
That is Amazing.
right? So
Wow.
those
Yeah.
are just a few examples of how to create new passive income from scratch. So when you combine those two things, the golden goose approach plus filling in with other
Mhm.
semi-passive streams, then that's how we support women to become financially free in 5 years or less, starting from wherever they are right now.
That's amazing. What about, let me just ask your opinion, which I don't think I wrote this down on the questions, but we're talking about passive income and investing your money. What do you think about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and all of that? What is
Yeah,
your opinion?
I have a lot of thoughts about that, and I actually have a Bitcoin and crypto playlist on my channel if you want to check it out.
Hmm.
I would have a video called "My Thoughts on Bitcoin," and I'm launching my own cryptocurrency right now, actually. So
Wow.
with crypto, it's an interesting world. So I feel like when it comes to investing in anything, the more money that's in something, the more mainstream adoption it has, the more stability that lends it. And the
Hmm.
longer it's around, the more stability it lends it. So at this point, crypto is big enough that it's worth paying attention. So you can say, like, well, how are these digital tokens created out of thin air worth anything? But you could say the same thing about the US dollar. There's nothing, we're not on the gold standard. There's nothing backing the US dollar other than us saying, we've decided we're going to accept this as payment.
Yeah,
Well, it's the
you're
same thing
right.
with Bitcoin. People have decided, oh, we've enough people have decided it's worth something that now, last I checked, if Bitcoin were a company, it would be the seventh largest company in the world. So
Wow.
that gives it credibility, that gives it stability, that has me say this is worth paying attention to. So I think we've reached the point in the last few years where there's enough traction that it makes sense to include crypto as a small percentage of your portfolio, like, you know, maybe 1 to 5% of your investments,
Hmm.
because it's very volatile and risky, but it's an example of asymmetric risk, which means like, okay, you might lose it all or you might lose most of it, but it could double, triple, quadruple, 10x, 20x. So it's like
Yes,
you're
it could.
risking a little bit to potentially gain a lot. So that's an example of asymmetric risk. So when you add a small percentage of your investments like that, then
Mhm.
yeah, you might lose it. So like, let's say you have 1% of your money. What if you lost all of it? Well, the market goes up and down 1% all the time. You wouldn't even
Yeah.
feel it, right? But
Yes.
let's say it quadrupled in value. That brings the value of your whole portfolio up more. So I think that we're at the point where it makes sense to start looking at that.
Just
I don't know if
wondering.
that's more than I don't know if that's more than what you wanted to know, but that's
No, no, that's exactly what I want to know because I'm kind of interested in it and I'm kind of not. And I'm just like in the middle
yeah.
because I'm like, okay, this stuff really is made up. So, but
So
then
is
like when
everything,
people keep
right?
paying, it's $1 billion industry now. So I'm like,
Yeah.
ah.
And it's easy to say, well, why is this valuable? Because you're used to living in a country that has a stable currency, right? But
Yeah.
there are other countries in the world that don't have a stable currency that are, adopting cryptocurrencies as their method of payment because they're like, okay, well now I can rely on this being worth something. I can rely on being able to use this.
You're
That's
right.
pretty
You're
cool.
right. It is pretty cool, especially when you think about just like you said, we took the dollar and said, okay, we believe that this is worth $1 and you can get this from like we made all that. Well, they made all that up. So
Yeah,
it's just
it is
kind of like how
literally
Bitcoin is.
all monopoly money. Like it's all monopoly money. And so it's just a matter of like, what if people decided gives it its value? Well, enough people have said yes that, okay, it's worth something because enough people have said it is.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I totally get it. So when you and I talked earlier, you were talking about you wanted to give my community a special offer for Financial Freedom 101. Let's talk about that. What is a special offer? Because
Yay!
we love special offers over here at your small business podcast.
Yes, I'd love to. So you can get all the details at giftfrompenelope.com. That's a new URL I created that I've never shared before. It's the first time. And
Oh,
Financial Freedom 101 is for you if you want to finally understand money and investing so you know that your financial freedom is secure even if you stop working. This is not for you if you think money's evil, it's bad to have money, it's not spiritual to have money. What it is an experiential online immersion event where in just 3 days, you'll get the skills, tools, and money systems that you need to become financially free forever. So on day 1, we're going to dive more into the financial freedom formula. You'll learn how to model the cash flow patterns of wealthy people so you can get that working for you right now. You'll learn surprising ways you might be unintentionally pushing money away and what to look at and consider to decide if an investment is a good deal for you. And then on day 2, we're going to go into your entrepreneurial wealth blueprint, which is how you design your business to become a vehicle for creating wealth. You're going to learn the number 1 money myth that causes entrepreneurs to struggle financially. You'll get your money working for you. You're going to give your money a job.
Wow.
You'll learn how to leverage the power of your number 1 wealth building tool. And you'll learn the secret to investing with confidence and peace of mind that are actually going to help you triple the return of the average investor. And then on day 3, we're going to fill in the details of your entrepreneurial wealth blueprint and go deeper into your prosperity mindset. So you'll learn an easy process for how to stop stressing out about money. You'll learn my system for how to get more unexpected checks in the mail. You'll learn simple strategies and brain hacks that can make millions of dollars over time, and also how to enjoy spending money without guilt or fear. And then over the 3 days, I'm going to take you through my Wealth Accelerator system, which has 4 parts: mindset, education, systems, and strategy, or MESS for short, because let's face it, a lot of us are a hot mess when it comes to money. But the good news is that your MESS gives you the keys to creating wealth and financial freedom. So you can see all the details, including the event dates, at giftfrompenelope.com, which we'll link in the show notes. And in just 3 days, you're going to be equipped to make more money and, most importantly, to get your money working for you, and you'll have those skills for the rest of your life. So I think you're going to feel really energized even after geeking out about money for 3 days. I've been to events that charge, $5,000 or more for, what I don't think provides as much value as this. That might sound like a big investment, but if all this does is give you an extra $1 million at retirement, then that would be totally worth it, right?
Yeah, definitely so. Definitely.
So tuition for Financial Freedom 101 is $497 for the whole weekend. And since you're tuning into this podcast, you're already investing in yourself by investing your time here with Janice and I today. So we want to match your commitment. So when you register for Financial Freedom 101 with that special link, giftfrompenelope.com, you actually get to bypass the $497 tuition. All you have to do is put down a $97 seat deposit. And guess what?
Wow.
You get it back. You get it back. So that means I'm giving you a full scholarship. The reason that we ask for the deposit is because that helps us plan. We're going to ship you a physical workbook and workshop materials in the mail. So we want to make sure you're actually planning to be there. So that's why we charge you the deposit and then give it back. But this really is a full scholarship. When you use that magic link, giftfrompenelope.com, that'll allow you to bypass the tuition, come on scholarship. You just need to put that deposit down, which you get back right after the event. So
That's
that
awesome.
is how that works. Pretty cool, huh?
That is awesome. I feel like I'm giving people like a Christmas gift. Like, hey, Merry Christmas. That's your gift for the year for me. Because that's awesome and a very high valuable package that you have there for those 3 days.
Thank you.
That is excellent. Thank you so much for giving us that special offer. Do you have anything you want to add before we play this or that?
I would just say, I saw this quote online. It was like one of those little memes that somebody posted on Facebook. So I don't know like who said it. It wasn't, titled, but it totally stopped me in my tracks. It said, do something today that your future self will thank you for. And I was like, wow, do something today that your future self will thank you for. That's what it's about, right?
Yeah.
Because so many people take this, financial freedom, money management stuff, and they'll like kick that can down the road until they're, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. And they're like, oh, maybe I wish I had money for retirement.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's so much easier when you just start now, and then your future self will absolutely love you for it.
And that's what they need to do today. Take that step to ensure that their future self is happy when they're 60, 70, 80 years old.
Exactly.
Really, yes. Okay. So now we'll play quickly. I'll just have a few this or that questions. I tried
All
to
right, lay it on me.
yes, I love this new segment I made up. I said, put a game in there somewhere. So just a few. Um, would you rather sleep in the quiet or with noise?
Oh
Which
my gosh, I'd much rather sleep in the quiet.
me too. Scary movies or funny movies?
Funny movies all the way. Scary
Really?
movies freak me out.
I'm a
Yeah.
scary movie girl. Love scary movies.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Dark chocolate or white chocolate?
Oh, I mean, can I have milk chocolate? I guess between those two, dark chocolate.
Really? So you like milk chocolate instead?
Depends on the thing. Like there's these Lily's dark chocolate covered almonds that I like better than the milk chocolate ones.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for most things, I like milk chocolate better. And there's one thing, it's like this cookie in Japan that has white chocolate in it that I like the white
Mm.
chocolate, but most of the time I'm not that into it. Did you know that in Japan, in addition
Mhm.
to Valentine's Day, they have something called White Day, which is basically like another Valentine's Day
And it's
a month
called
later?
White Day?
Yeah, but it's like designed to sell more chocolate. On a white day, you give white chocolate.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
So
I
is
lived in
it like,
I lived in Japan for 2 years, so
do
yeah.
they have like, is it just chocolate though? Like people don't buy the balloons and the flowers, it's just chocolate.
I think they might buy the other stuff too. It's been a while. Like I lived in Japan from 99 to 2001, so
Wow.
2001. So it's been a while, but that is where I had those white chocolate cookies and they were good.
Well, we need to do that here. We need to have another Valentine's
Let's
Day.
just create a second Valentine's Day. For what I remember, it was like people who identify as men give women one kind of chocolate and then the women give the men the other kind of something like that. I don't remember. But I do remember that they had the white chocolate thing and I liked it.
Oh, wow. Okay. That is interesting. Yeah, we need to do that here. We do. Men would hate it. They'd be like, "Really? We, we already love you. Like you don't need a whole nother day." Uh, let's do smoothies or milkshakes.
Ooh, it depends on if I am like sticking to my food plan or not. I think if it was just like pure taste, I'd have to go with a milkshake. But
Yeah.
given my current life, I'm more likely to have a smoothie.
There's nothing wrong with smoothies. See, I would have to pick a smoothie too. I can't do milkshake.
Yeah, smoothies are delicious.
They really are. It depends on what you're putting in
Absolutely.
them. Tattoos or piercings.
Well, I have piercings and I don't have tattoos, so I think I have to go with piercings.
I don't know why I thought you were gonna say you had tattoos.
I don't. I have 3
I don't
piercings
either.
here, 3 piercings here, and then I had a belly button piercing, which still has something there, but it's I was traveling in Thailand and the ring popped out and it got infected and I was like,
Oh
"Oh."
wow.
So I don't have it anymore, but I
Oh
did have my belly
geez.
button pierced.
Well, that's nice. I've never had a stomach flat enough to even get a
Well, the stomach has not been flat since I was, I don't know, maybe 5 years old, but I got one anyway.
Ah, we'll just do a couple more. um, would you your desktop or your laptop? Which one do you
At
work
this point,
better
I
on?
really, I use a laptop because I like being able to do my business from anywhere.
Yes. See, that's another thing about financial freedom.
It's another freedom thing. I like being able
Mhm.
to work in bed or outside or at an Airbnb or just go wherever I want. Yeah.
Yes, yes. When you have that financial freedom, you can work anywhere you want. Just take your laptop with you.
Yeah.
Just leave out if you have an online business. Like I said, that's something that we're all trying to get there. We are. The last one is socks or barefoot.
Socks or barefoot?
Yes,
Um, I mean, it's more comfortable barefoot, but honestly, like I run so cold, I pretty much need to wear socks or my feet get too cold.
I do too now. I do too. I used to be the barefoot person. I love to walk around the house with my bare feet, but now that I stay cold as well, I have to wear socks. And I
Yeah,
hate
but
socks.
if it's warm enough, I'm all about the barefoot. And when I was a kid, I'd go everywhere barefoot in the summer. My feet would get these like really intense calluses on the bottom because I'd be like
Oh,
walking on hot granite and it wasn't a problem. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
but now can't do it now. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of your small business podcast. I definitely have to have you back on because with finances, money, we definitely can have probably 120 more shows just on money.
Yeah, we have a lot. There's a lot to talk about for sure.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So thank you again, and we will see you next time. All right. I'm going to